How you doing, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Expressed Opinion with me, your girl, Lynn Roberts.
I'm that girl, DC.
And I'm that guy, Trey.
All right, y'all. Check this out. Today is going to be a show that's going to it's going to touch a lot of people's nerves. We're going to hit some nerves today. So
We're going to get some other opinions.
Of course, we're going to get some other opinions.
We will get some other
yes.
opinions today.
So with this show, please feel free to leave your comments at the bottom. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe. Right? Subscribe.
Right.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about It's My Child Too, the ups and downs of co-parenting. Y'all ready? You ready? Let's get it.
Ain't got no choice.
Now, we're talking about this because you're a single parent, I'm a single parent, and you're a single parent.
I'm a co-parent.
I'm a co-parent as well. So
I'm the other parent.
you're the other parent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
All of that.
Okay. So we're going to be touching on all of this. So let's get started. Now, we got many aspects to cover. We've got how your co-parent, be it the mother or the father, uses the child as a pawn. Where, you got some parents that will hold their child as ransom for child support, or they'll tell the other parents that they can't see the child because you haven't paid any child support. So, so we got we're gonna dive into this. I'm about to dive in. All right. So, what do you think of this, D?
Okay, the pawn situation. All the way over. I cannot stand a parent, may it be female or male, that uses their child as a pawn. That is a pet peeve of mine.
Oh my God, I can't.
I'm talking about. I've even gotten on my girlfriends about doing that. I can't stand that. I can, especially if you have a willing participant.
Exactly.
A father who's wanting to be there.
Exactly.
And to say because y'all had a bad breakup that the child is not, able to see the father, that is disgusting. I don't like it, and I don't like you.
And not only that, when you try to use the child because maybe he broke up with you, and you still want him, but he's moved on. So because he doesn't want to get back with you, you're gonna keep the child from him. Hold on. This is what the reason I heard. I don't know who he's gonna have around my child. This is this child's father. I'm going to feel that the father is going to protect this child by any means. I mean, be it male or female. Females also. Sometimes you have fathers who are the single parent and they do the same thing. But if you know this parent genuinely loves this child and the sole reason you're doing it is because the relationship ended on a bad note, look, let that child see their other parent. Exactly. I mean, the resentment is going to come later on, especially when they find out the reasons why. So if you in the relationship or whoever ends the relationship and that person is a caring parent, let them see that child. Amen. What you think, Mr. Trey?
I'm one of those parents. Yeah, I'm one of those parents who really love his child, really love his son, and I have a child that is on the brink of being an adult himself. So I've gone through 18 years of drama. I've been the person who's gone to court to ask just to see my son. You know what I'm saying? So you get to the point where you have to try to create a relationship with someone. You try to create a relationship with someone even though you've broken up. And the most important thing is the child. Now finances get involved, and child support is a very important piece of this subject.
Yeah, it is.
And like you said, ransom is, unfortunately a real thing in society when it comes to a mother who is going to get first dibs at the child, regardless when it comes to the laws of the land, the mother is going to have first dibs. A father got the super duper fight to have full custody of a child. But when you have a mother who, let's say she's heartbroken, she went through the motions with that other parent, and now that relationship has ended, I can understand that she may not want to be put out there by herself with this child, and now you also have society looking at you like, damn, that shit ain't work out. How is that going to work with the father not being in the picture? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's a lot of ridicule for a woman to have to deal with if the man separates. You know what I'm saying? If the two separate. So I understand the spite a woman may have towards a man, but at the end of the day, common sense has to take place.
Well,
sometimes common sense ain't so common.
It's not. It's not. And we're talking about, and in my situation, I know I'm a good pops. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. I know I'm a good dad. But I have been in a situation where my child was held hostage for a very long time. And there's nothing that you can do as the father. You can't go down to the house and go kidnap your kid. You know what I'm saying? Not kidnap, but go snatch your kid up like, hey, I told you I wanted to see him this weekend, give me my baby. You feel what I'm saying? Or you may have that woman that say, well, I think about it. Oh, shit, there's so many dudes out here who hear that. Well, I think about it. And then you never see the child. You know what I'm saying? You may only have a few days to see the kid. And you're trying to be nice. You're not trying to have an argument. And because you know you're not trying to argue, because if you argue, then boom, all bets off. If you disrespect her, all bets off. You ain't going to never see the child if you say anything crazy to me. But to control you, this is how I'm going to control you with this child, because I know you want this child in your life. You feel what I'm saying?
Were you paying child support when all of this was going on?
I've been paying child support since my son was 3 years old, so I've been paying for 15 years.
Okay, so when you went to
court, maybe 2 years, so 16.
So when you went to court, did they not mandate that every other weekend you get visitation?
Yeah, take a drink on that.
I had to, man. Look, that ain't how it works. First, if you're not married to the woman, then that's not really your child. In the state of Georgia,
you gotta legitimize the child.
You gotta get the child legitimized. Once you get the child legitimized, then the state say, all right, you paid me my money, now this kid yours. Now he your responsibility, or he or she your responsibility, right? Or what the state is saying, you have rights to the child, not so much the responsibility part, right? So then you have to go and get joint custody of your child. So you went to court for child support. You got to go to court to get legitimized. Then you got to go to court to get joint custody. You don't need a lawyer or any of that to get joint custody. I went down there by myself, got the form offline, filled out what weekends I wanted. The judge told us to go to the back. She was bucking on everything I put out there. But it was a general schedule, right? You bucking on the whole thing. The internet gave me this shit. I ain't come up with this. But because she thought I did it, she just bucked it. Nah, he don't need them this weekend and da-da-da-da-da.
So what did the judge say on your behalf?
Well, the judge said you can get it. Because her lawyer was looking at her like she was crazy. She had a lawyer in the room. And her lawyer was like, this is standard. Like, he's giving you what it is, right? So the judge and the courts just reiterate, you got to continue to pay your child support. You got to have insurance on your child. They still giving you the nail, like, because if you don't keep up with your end of the deal, you go to court. Now, let's say you got joint custody. You went and you paid your fees and da-da-da-da-da, and you're supposed to get your child a certain weekend, and you don't get your child. You calling, you blowing the phone up, da-da-da-da-da. She don't give you your child. Now you got the right to call the police on her, but she won't go to jail.
Do you get the child?
Yes, you could get the child, but why would you want to get the child at that point?
It's at like that.
Now it's so much trauma just took place. You know what I'm saying? You don't call the police on, not a child looking at you like, you don't call the police on my mom, and now I'm here with you mad because the police is with my mom. You can't do your kid like that.
Listen. This is me. Nothing is going to keep you from my child. If I got to call the police to get my child, I'm gonna call the police to get my child. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to that child repeatedly as to why things happen.
Right.
Because this is what happens when that child grow up, and as long as that child is in the household with that parent, that child is being fed plenty of things. And it's not most likely in the best interest of the parent that's trying to get that child. So you may have to do what you have to do. At least that child know you're willing to fight for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we also do, right? Like I gave you a synopsis of what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
I could give you an actual scenario that took place where I drove 4 hours to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you told me about that.
You know I ain't lying there, right?
I know you were not lying.
I drove 4 hours to North Carolina to get my son for the summer, or for Thanksgiving or something like that, a 2-week break.
It was a holiday. It was around the holiday, I believe. Yeah.
I told this woman 3 months in advance where we're gonna meet. Right off I-95. It was she drove up there. She drove down, but didn't call me because she didn't want to come to my location. I've told you for 3 months. This is where we're gonna meet, right? This woman literally tried to drop my son off on the side of the interstate.
What?
Then I'm like, you dumb. At this point, like, I'm not telling her that, but you dumb.
Yeah.
That don't make sense. So then you go to a McDonald's. I don't know what is McDonald's. I don't. Yes. I do.
But I mean, like now, when that was going on.
Man, y'all soft ass ain't gonna help a brother out. Listen.
First of all, he told me about it after the fact.
I put this. It was on Facebook and everything. Man, I was ready to boo-hoo. I'm in the car.
Oh, she was ready. She wasn't really gonna do that, though, right? She was just
no,
talking.
this happened.
It actually happened.
She put the child.
No.
Oh.
She went to McDonald's. I'm like, look, I don't know what McDonald's you at. I'm not trying to find no McDonald's. You have the address. I gave it to you 3 months ago. Bring my son here. But because you want to control me in some type of way, you want to say, nah, F your address, you come to this address. I drove here and I come over here and get it. Instead of coming the way I've told you to go.
That's a booger.
So what do you do? Now, are you going to go jump? Now, you going to crank your car from like, stupid ass bitch, and drive over there? Or are you going to stand on your 2 feet and like, and not only that, you with your dude done call me out because I'm talking to her like she need to be spoken to. Her dude done jumped on the phone and called me out. So I really can't go over here because I'm going to drag him through the river. You feel me?
Did you get the child?
No. How can I go?
He did.
Listen,
That's what I'm saying.
How can I go to get my? I did call the police. I got a report. I did what I was supposed to do. Look what you're doing. You saying no, but if I'm telling you this man is calling me out my name, he calling me what you carry. You feel me? You ain't calling me that. You did. And if I go over there, then it's going to be a problem in front of my child. Now I got to be the bigger person and walk away. You feel what I'm saying? I got to drive 4 hours back. That's 8 hours out my day. Because you want to control the situation. Now that's a scenario I gave you. I gave you the facts at first. Now I'm giving you a scenario to where somebody want to control the man for no apparent reason.
I had the opposite with with my
boy,
first kid.
I'm telling you.
Look, listen.
Ooh, I cannot.
I had. It wasn't like that, but I did have the opposite with my older 2 kids. When me and my first ex-husband, when we got divorced, because he ended up getting custody because I didn't go to court. I missed the court date. And because I missed the court date, he ended up getting custody of the kids. And the thing about it was, we were in Texas at the time and in the process of trying to move back to Georgia. And it was a big mess. And he used to hold the kids from me at first. And then I would have to jump through hoops to see my kids at first. And then we kept going back and forth to court, because we were actually in Georgia, and I actually had to fly back to Texas to go back to court in Texas for my kids that were here in Georgia.
So did they like try to say he was kidnapping him, being that he had custody and he was in Georgia with him?
He was only doing it out of spite because when we got divorced, I am the one that asked for the divorce.
Okay, so once he got custody, did he tell you to bring the kids back?
No, he didn't tell me to bring the kids back because at that time the kids were actually here in Georgia, but both of us was in Texas. Right. So the kids were here because I was trying to close, tie up loose ends in Texas before we actually moved back to Georgia. So the kids were actually here, but they were with his mom.
I get what you're saying, but you're saying he received custody of them.
Yes, but they were with his mom at the time, so I didn't have them.
Okay.
So, but every time that I would try to go get the kids and stuff, it was an issue. It was basically I had to jump through hoops to get my kids. And then when I finally got the kids, we were going back and forth, and we finally got the case transferred to Georgia. Mm-hmm. And I think he ended up giving me the kids because one day he came to get them and they were over at my mom's house, and it was a sneaky thing he did. And he tried to come get them at my mom's house, and he went over to my mom's house, grabbed the kids, put them in the car. We had to end up calling the police, the sheriff's office, it was 2 sheriffs and a lady from DFAX that got involved because she had the court order and stuff. It was a big mess, and the only way that when I got over there by my mom's house, the cops had him sitting on the curb. He was sitting on the curb. My son was crying in the back seat, and he was crying. I mean, he was like hysterically crying, and that was the only way the cops and the caseworker let them come back with me. And from that point on, he never ever tried to take them away from me again. Wow. Yeah. So.
Well,
yeah.
I've heard stories.
Yes. It was a thing.
In my case, I ended my relationship. That was one thing I was always for, because my dad was there until, his passing. So I knew what it felt like not to have a father, but it wasn't because of him not being there. It was because, of his demise. Yeah. So and I'm a family person to my core. So the last thing I want to do is keep a child from their father. Exactly. I even went as far as to say, you just get it on the weekends. You gotta pay me child support.
Hamburger.
Oh. I mean, that's what I mean, because I knew he was struggling.
But see, I'm with you on that.
And a little while it happened, and then when it was a no go, that's when everything got cut off. And that's when I was, and I still didn't. And to be honest with you, what I had to do, it made me sick, because I hate trying to make somebody do something. I think naturally is a part of their being. If you bring life into this world, it is your responsibility to make sure that that life is taken care of. And another thing I hate is when she went and took child support out on me. People don't always do it maliciously. Exactly. And I had to have a conversation, and this is with the lady in child support, because I cried. I boo-hoo cried, because that's not something that I ever imagined myself having to do. Yeah. And she was like, "Well, look at it like this. You didn't bring this child into this world by yourself. True. And it may not replace, or it may not, fix your situation, but it'll make it a little bit easier on you financially." And I wasn't even trying to break nobody. She told me what it was. Because what I asked for, she looked at me like I was crazy. She, told me, she's like, this is what it's going to be. And I just looked, I was like, okay. But, it's just...
Hey, what's going on? You all right? You okay?
So, it's
all right.
To me, I really don't think, as a parent, male or female, if you have a willing participant, work with them.
Exactly.
I mean, if you can keep them people out of your business, keep them out of your doggone business.
Now, I will tell you, with my first husband, after we went through all of that, and he had to pay child support, he never paid me child support.
Oh, he owe you child support.
Yeah, well, he do. But the thing about it is, I was pretty much like you. I knew I was taking care of my kids. It was a struggle, but I also knew that he didn't have anything. You know, he really wasn't working. So what he gonna give me if he's not working? So I was like, look, fine, you can't give me child support, but I guarantee you, spring break, weekend, Thanksgiving, Christmas, if they get a 3-day holiday, guess where they gonna be? With you. Look, we had a halfway point. I used to take him all the way, or he used to come down, and then we was like, look, it's halfway is right here. Y'all get your bags. As soon as school was out, the bags was at the door, put in the back seat up in the trunk, let's go. Time to go. You're going to your daddy and your grandma and granddaddy. You're going to see them. I did not ever keep my kids away from their dad. My thing was, I was called, hey, I need a break too. And see, that's what I wish some of these ladies would understand. With these kids, instead of you holding them as pawns, you need to look at the other side of it for yourself. You need a break from your kids. So if you need a break from your kids and their father is there and they're willing to take their kids, let them dads have their kids and give yourself a break. You can decompress, decompose, enjoy your weekend, have a weekend with your girls or whatever. But look at it like that. I was being selfish with it. Hey, come get your kids. I need a break. Now, I didn't have no problem with doing that.
What about the flip side of the coin? The ones who drop them off because they want to go out so much.
No, well,
and,
see, that's.
And they co-parenting, but, it's always dropping them off.
Yeah, that's something different.
I don't. If there's a young lady out there dropping their kids off to her, to the father, so she can go out, she is not smart. Mm-hmm. They need to go to your mama house or something like that. Because if he find out you always going out every time you bring the kids over, now he looking at you like a bad mom.
But you know what? It happens. And they're paying child support.
Hamburger.
And and they don't mind, but it's always it's not a warning. Mm-hmm. It's a knock on the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just no boundaries. They don't have boundaries for their relationship. That's just on.
Now here's the flip side to it. If you get a no, then when you ready to come get them, it's a no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's messed up.
Man, and this don't get by no way twisted. Males do it as well as females, because you have single fathers who have women jump through the hoop. Because I work with women who have done their very best to get, to have a relationship with their child, and a father, she has to do this, she can only come over here. And it's not that the woman have them in a bad situation. You just, because
being spiteful.
Because or she could have made a mistake in the past, and that's held against her. Mm-hmm. Everything is fine on the up and up. You can go in the house. Parents really need to understand the mentality and the mental stress when you hold your child hostage or you use them as a pawn from that parent. Because, and I know, and it wasn't even a pawn, I tell my daughter now, and I promise you that question come up, do they love me? Mm-hmm. And do not bash the other parent. I don't care what happens. Mm-hmm. Try not to bash. And sometimes you get emotional. Mm-hmm. Try not to bash, because to this day, I don't ever say anything bad. Mm-hmm. Ever say anything bad.
Now, I will say, though, if my child asks me,
I redirect them to the father. Mm-hmm. I don't answer the question. If you ask me a why, go ask your father.
No, well, so certain things I'm gonna add.
That kind of defeats what you were saying to me earlier. Like, I was giving you the scenario of the drama that may be between my son's mother and myself. Well, that's a conversation that has to be had with the child, right?
Yeah.
So this is 18 years of conversation. If I talk about it, then guess what? That can be considered, no matter how it's being brought to my son, it could be considered bad mouthing the mother because it's the opposite of what
he's been told.
Of what he's been seeing, what he's been told, and now he gets another side of it. Somebody can easily say, don't be bad mouthing me in front of my child. No, that's not bad mouthing you, that's me telling him the truth, another side of the situation, so that he will understand what's going on. It's not bad mouthing somebody, but people have different scopes of how they see things and how they hear things. I try to educate my child as much as I possibly can, and sometimes he can't stand it because I tell him I'm not fussing, I'm teaching. Like I have to teach you very fast as well because I only get you on the weekend. So I got 48 hours to teach you something that I may not get to give you over the next week or maybe the next 2 weeks. That
he would normally learn over a period of time.
Once your child, and oh man, don't let your child get a little older and he in sports. The weekend's gone.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you drive the support.
Without a doubt. You go drive and support that situation, but you're not going to take the child back with you when they got a whole event that just took place. You might as well go on back to the house. I catch up with you when I can, but I'm here to support. I'm glad you did what you could. I mean, don't get it twisted. Common sense is out there. We're going to support our children. We want to support our children more, especially as men. But what I found a lot of when it comes to the men that are great dads is that they feel like they haven't completed the mission because they still didn't have a partner. You feel what I'm saying?
And I get what you're saying. And that's why I say it's important. If you have to call the police to get your child, you call the police to get your child because of that same reason.
The police ain't about to teach my child nothing but us calling the police on each other. The police ain't about to do it. You got to, because even if the police get involved, it's still going to separate space between you and that child. You might as well do the separation yourself and wait for the next opportunity so you can teach your child. Outside of that, now you're teaching your child what the police is getting involved for. I don't want my son to know that it's okay to call the police on the other parent. And I've taught him that. I never call the police on your mama. No matter how wrong she's been, I never call the police on her. I'm not about to be, even with sisters, and I'm going to talk to the brothers too. I got y'all back, but sisters, when you go put that black man on child support, you are putting that man on papers. He is on papers for the remainder of that child's life until that child is 18 years old, or in some places until that child gets out of college.
True.
They on papers. You don't nobody know what the next 18 years of your life is going to look like. People fall on hard times, but you can't fall on hard times when you're on papers. There's no such thing. You got to keep up with that payment. That shit don't stop. Then that becomes a hindrance on the father. This becomes a whole new burden. You feel what I'm saying?
No,
shit, man.
Because here's my thing. He's living with the mother. If the mother can't take care of that child by any means,
so see what that part right there. Let me finish my thought.
Go ahead.
That part right there, the way sis just got frustrated with what I'm saying before I even finished it. I'm not saying you're not supposed to get support from that man. I didn't say that at all. I said going to those people putting us on papers is what's fucked up. Don't no man want to go to jail because of a child. You feel what I'm saying? Ain't nobody trying to call the police on you because it looks stupid. It's lame. But if I get pulled over, I don't know when it's going to take place. And this ain't no bond. You don't get bond for child support. You got to pay the full ticket. That might be $3,000-$4,000 or you don't get out of jail. Guess what happens then? I just lost my job again. You taking me through the ringer. This don't make sense. I can raise my child. But if you giving me your ass to kiss, then I got to pay you to kiss your ass. And I got to pay you to see a child. I don't like you, sis. It's like F you. I don't like you. Now, what I would like to also say to my sisters, just go get a contract. You could go get a document written up between you and the father, a mutual agreement, and have it notarized and have lawyers sign, do whatever you need to do. Give that brother an opportunity to pay you a little something if that's what's needed, but come up with the righteous number. D, you just said that the lady told you this how much you gonna get. You was like, shit, okay. But
well,
you came with a
I was
different.
like, okay. I was like,
Yeah, because it was a better number than what you thought of, right?
well, I didn't even. I
Yes or no? Is it a better number?
It was a bigger. It was
a better number, and you was like, oh, okay. You ain't fuss her down and say, no.
Wait a minute.
Don't do that.
I got something on that.
The flip part of that is, he had every opportunity.
No,
Wait a minute. Hold up.
That's
Wait a
not
minute.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
When the lady gave you the number,
Mm-hmm.
you know what his situation was like. Did you go
It didn't
with
hurt him. It didn't hurt him.
Oh
It
shit.
didn't.
How
Okay.
you know what's
Now
hurting his
let
pocket?
me. Okay, I get what
It
you're saying.
didn't hurt him. What?
No, okay, wait a minute, Trey. I get what you're saying on that. Okay.
Having the baby didn't hurt you.
I get what you're saying on that. Okay. Now let me just put my 2 cents in here. Okay. Suppose you tried to talk to the father and said, "Look, all right, let's work something out where, cause I don't want to go to these people, right? If we work something out where you give me something every 2 weeks, and we won't have to go through all of this."
What was that? 2 weeks too long?
No, because that was the
No,
agreement.
no,
I told him.
no.
I gave him.
Oh,
But
shit,
I was
you
saying-
just came back with you mad over
Yeah,
there.
but I'm just okay. Listen. Okay, so you tried to work out an agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to do right.
Right.
So when he didn't want to do right, then you have no choice but to go that route.
Okay.
I didn't. Wait a minute. Let me tell you mine.
All right.
I didn't want to go that route, right? I tried to work it out. Okay, let's be reasonable about this. And every 2 weeks, you give me something so that we don't have to go that route. That didn't happen. Waited what 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Nothing. All right, cool.
How much he was supposed to give you for them 6, 7, 8 months?
It was what, maybe $200 every 2 weeks.
Is it maybe or was it $200?
It was about maybe $200. But this is the thing. That would have been a lot less than what the child support people wanted to do. And I even took it a step further. When we went to child support, when we went to court, they wanted him to pay more. I even told them, I said, no, I said, you could bring it down some. I told them, I said, bring it down. They brought it down.
No people ain't about to break.
No, they went.
They brought it
Look,
down
wait a
to what?
minute. Hold on. First of all, I used to work at child support, okay?
Okay.
I used to work at child support. So, and I knew how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
So, I told them, I said, you can bring it down to this. And she did. She said, okay, I'll bring it down there because he was sitting up here, and then he gonna sit up there. This is the thing. I told them they knocked off $250. He wasn't happy with that. Talking about, well, you need to bring it down a little. Dude, I just knocked off $250. And this is how you sit up here and you need to take some more for that. No, I just saved you over $1,300 a year.
Okay.
So, but that's not good enough. But any other way, I wouldn't have been able to get anything. I tried to compromise with you so we wouldn't even have to go here. So we wouldn't even have to take it here, but you didn't want to do that. So sometimes you have no choice. It's not that you want to. I mean, don't get me wrong. You do have some women out there, that's the first place they want to run. Mm-hmm. I get that.
That's who I was speaking to.
I wasn't trying to do that. That was a last resort for me.
And I'm not I'm not saying that women should not handle their business. What I'm saying is create an opportunity. If we're talking about being adults and we're going to work it out for the child, mm-hmm. I'm trying to give a solution. Mm-hmm. Before you go put this guy on papers. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, let's back it up.
Back it up. Back that thing up.
When I was coming up, I was coming up in a little small town.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I heard the women talk about was a GI. Right? A soldier. Coming off Fort Stewart. I knew as a child, the women in my town was trapping these dudes left and right. I got a close home girl. All she ever did was date an Army dude. And her kids come from an Army dude. And all of those Army dudes are getting drugged. You feel what I'm saying? This is my home girl. Well, we've been close for a long time. We don't talk too much no more because of that same shit. You feel what I'm saying? I just saw it for too long. I was like, hey man, look. All right, I'll let you. You toxic. You see what I'm saying? So we know that there's women out there who may try to trap men. You feel what I'm saying? We're not gonna act like that doesn't exist. And I know that there are guys out there who are just assholes and don't want to do right, and they're running for responsibility. You feel what I'm saying? But if you have a person that you've had a child with, you've been in a relationship with this person for a decent amount of time, y'all know y'all have this child together. Try to come to something together, but put it on paper to where it's notarized. You have something to document that say, hey, this is what we agreed to together. We didn't just come up with this in the bedroom sitting on the edge of the bed. Now I got to take you to court.
Yeah. Because
we agreed to this and you're not holding up to your end of the deal. I didn't want to put you on these papers. You wanted to put yourself on them papers at that point. You feel what I'm saying? So that I just want to find different solutions in our community to where it doesn't have to continue to happen. I've been on the second floor of Chatham County courthouse on a Tuesday. It ain't nothing but us. It's all us. I'm talking about a courtroom full of brothers and some nasty ass females in the back trying to get that checkup.
Okay, so let me clarify. That's nothing that I ran down. Like my daughter was a little up in age when I even decided to do it. So that was I gave all kind of opportunities, but it was a package deal. The package deal was it. That was my problem, you know. And I want people to understand, child support should not be used as a tool for you to sustain.
Right.
You know, it's
for the child.
Let me tell you something about the child. Let me ask you something. Do the child have its own bills?
No.
I
know what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say it's for the child, you don't understand
for the
that
benefit.
It's going to take care of the house. Because
that's not my responsibility.
No, listen, hold on. Wait a minute. I get what you're saying. Right. If that child is not lacking, is the child support not doing its job? Now, if you're paying child support and your child is dirty, hungry, lights off, what up?
You dress to the nines and your child look like a ragamuffin, like they homeless.
There's a problem.
Yeah,
but if you go pick your child up and your child is neat, kept well, fed, lights on, and they're not wanting for anything, I hate to hear her say, oh, well, she get this and listen, I get it. I don't know who come up with the numbers for child support. So I know some people are getting child support and the mother don't have to work simply because of how much the man makes. I get that. I think a child supposed to be taken care of by both parents. And may it be female or male. What people have to understand, child support, you people don't pay you when your child's sick and you got to take off work. You lose and you spend your time. People are not, and I'm not talking about the ones who want to be there and that parent is keeping them from. I'm talking about the ones who are using this child support thing as a whipping, like, oh, well, she put me on child support. Okay, the ones who run down and the fathers are willing to be there, you wrong. If the father's going to be there, leave them people out your business.
Right.
For those deadbeat dads and that person is trying, understand, she didn't bring the child here by herself. Well, she only want this because when you at work, that mama up at night, or that dad is up at night when that child has a game, she taking them back and forth. She got to pay her car note because that's the only way she gonna get to work and make sure that the child home that she stays in is paid for, right? Lights, utility, clothes, food, whatever.
Water,
I'm not talking about Please understand what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the parent who's wanting to be there, whether it be male or female. Like Trey said, he was a willing participant. Hey, please, by all means, allow, and I'm talking to these deadbeat ones. As soon as you get on paper, you want to holler, she put you on paper. But understand, if y'all work together, come on, because the child at the end is the one who's suffering.
Yep.
That child is going to grow up and it becomes a cycle. Because they hear and they see and they pay attention more than what you think they pay attention to. Girls start looking for men to be fathers instead of men to be that man in their lives. Boys grow up abusing women because they done heard and seen how women treat men or men treat women. So children really do pay attention, because I talk to my daughter constantly about life and stuff that happens. And so if you're not ready to have a child, hey, wrap it up and understand you need to have that conversation. If this should happen, we need to talk about what's going to be the outcome. Then you need to choose who the heck you lay down with.
Exactly.
Because if they're not responsible with the first one, don't come here swearing they're going to be responsible about yours.
And another thing, if you see a dude and he already got 5 and 6 kids with 3 and 4 different women, what you think he gonna do with you? And he not taking care of them. What you think you get pregnant by? You turn around and get pregnant by?
Well,
you think it's gonna be
different?
different?
They still need love. Those gentlemen need love too.
Well, those gentlemen need to be smart about getting love.
I have several uncles with several kids.
Well, they need to be smart.
Love.
They need to be smart about getting love. Everyone needs love. You just need to be smart about it.
I do want to also add that, so to my son's mother, I love you. I don't like you at all, but I love you. You did a great job with our child. So I want to say that.
That's very good.
Now let's be 100.
Go ahead. Bring it on.
The daddy got bills too.
True.
If that child come to the house, I need water. I need lights. I even need the internet and whatever other kind of cable and so forth I need to have for my child when he gets there. That child is comfortable. Now, when you take a chunk of money away from him when he comes home, so I get my child for the summer, right? And the way the calendar is really broken down, you kind of split your child up the whole year. It's kind of split 50-50. But when I got my child for the summer, I'm still paying her child support. Because it don't stop.
No, it don't.
How you feel? How would you feel if you got another and I got it?
Okay.
I got to feed, I got to do the whole 9. I got to do the whole 9 you would do with the child every day. Something happened to the child, I got to handle that.
Okay, but for the summer, how long is the summer?
It's how long it take for me to give you a check?
That depends.
30 days. You get a check every 30 days.
Okay.
I got in for a summer. Now you answer your own question. How long is the summer?
Summer's what, 30 to next today. These days and times.
It's 2 months.
So 2 months out of 12 months.
Okay,
so I think the point she made.
So 2 months. At the end of the day, for me, that's a chunk of money that I could be taking care of my child with. I could be taking my child to a nice little event and so forth, but I can't do nothing with you because
pocket's tight.
It's tight. I can't, cuz I actually just took care of you. However you want to have fun, I just did that. That just came out of the check. It's tight. But I still got to pay.
Okay.
So we are on the co-parenting thing. What are some remedies? What, like he said, and this is the question. What if you know you're gonna have your child 2 months out of the year, right? Do you think it will be fair for them to automatically split a 12-month payment minus 2 months?
I don't want them to do anything if I got joint custody.
No. I'm not saying it. I'm talking about for guys in general. For those guys that may have their kids, 2 months, or they have them over the summer,
If
they
they
get them
got
the
joint custody,
holidays.
if they got joint custody, they have their child half of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think it's feasible if they were on paper to only pay the half of the year? Would that be fair?
Either you're gonna pay 12 months or you're gonna reduce the amount of money that I'm paying, regardless.
Okay.
Excuse me, if I don't have joint custody. If I don't, so I think that the child support system could be revamped.
Yes, it
And I think that should be a different conversation because we can really indulge in that. When it comes to co-parenting, go ahead.
When it comes to co-parenting, that's where. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She was trying to get an answer.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Did
What
you
was the
answer?
question again? I'm sorry.
No, it was a different question.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we have views when we co-parent. Like you come to my house, this is how you act. You go to daddy's house, this is how you act. Co-parenting. So in that aspect, did you have was your son a little resentful to you because you wasn't there, maybe like he wanted you to be there, or in that little bit of time, that time that you did have him, were you able to get enough of him that he didn't have those issues?
So I'll be one great thing about my son. One of the great lessons that I learned about having my son was, so the first couple weeks of me getting my son for the summer, he wouldn't feel it because he knew what he was walking into. It's a different environment. You're in a different atmosphere. There's a different structure going on over here, and it's just me and you. At your mama's house, she fussing at 3-4 kids. You see what I'm saying? She ain't got to focus on you all the time. She focusing on all of them. Now I'm only focusing on you. You see what I'm saying? And let's say he may not be used to reading books for 30 minutes of the day and coming back and tell me what that part was about because I already read the book before you. You see what I'm saying? So my son didn't want to deal with that structure for the first week. So after the first week, it never failed. It clicked. You see what I'm saying? And he just went into a beautiful routine where we were doing great things. You see what I'm saying? So my son and I always had a great relationship when we're together. When we're separated, my son started to feel like he had to be the man around his mama.
Because you were showing him how a man should be.
Right, and showing him how a man should be, but that's just also a psychological thing that young men have when the father isn't around. He feel like he got to be the man of the house. And most times mamas might tell their son, you know, you the man of the house, baby, and that should have swelled a young man head up.
Never told I've never told
So it'll swell the head up. So him being the older brother, he feel like he got to look after his little siblings and so forth. But when he came home, it was always a little bucking in him at first, and then it straightened right on out. You see what I'm saying? And it's always been smooth. And like right now, he's busy working, he in sports, so that joint custody shit is out the window.
Right.
Like, I ain't picking him up every other weekend no more because he's busy.
But he's balanced enough.
No, I still think we're gonna need therapy later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told him that. Yeah, I told him that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, I think that we need to have that therapy because he's going to be a father one day.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And he needs to have a third party hearing what his dad has to say, and he needs to be open enough to talk to somebody else. And I can, either listen or I can be told how to handle it. You see what I'm saying? So I've been told my child we're going to therapy as soon as you.
To be quite honest, I think more parents need to do that with their kids.
Well, to be honest, if you co-parent, I think at some point you need to, like, if you co-parent and it works, fine. But if you co-parenting and it's that struggle, I know it's not because we as black people is very taboo. But as co-parenting and you're not getting along and the children are applying, I'm telling you, I promise you, later on, it's gonna come back and the child gonna get the brunt of the blow. Because like I said, girls grow up, daddy is the hero for the most part. Daddy is the hero, and if mama is that person and it's not a house, then mom can only teach her how she should be treated. But that guy, the gentleman, if it's not the father that's in her life, is going to show her So even if there's a person that stepped in, she's paying attention to that person and how that person is treating her mom.
Yep.
Vice versa. A son is going to pay attention to how his dad is treating that woman, or his mom is allowing that man to treat her.
Yep.
And when you're in a single parent and they know that's not their father, I'm telling you, in the back of their mind at some point, them children will say, that's not my mama, you can't tell me. That's not my daddy, you can't tell me. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this thing is serious, especially in our community. Look, stop using kids as a pawn. I mean, if you're gonna co-parent, you have to sit down. Especially when you find out.
Not only that, with the co-parenting thing, is that when you have rules in place for that child, and you all have to be in agreement as to what those rules are. Because I'll tell you, now with my youngest son, I told y'all I sent him to live with his dad because he's at that age now. I can't teach him what he needs to be taught at the age he is now. He needs his dad to do that. So that's what we did. We agreed, okay, he need to come stay with you now. Because now, he's smelling himself and he think I can't tell him nothing. I can still beat him down. But that's not going to help. He needs to have that father figure, and he needs it in front of him on a daily basis. So that's what so that's why I had to send him to live with his dad. But the other thing about that is he thinks now that he's with his dad, he can do certain things there with his dad. And when he comes here, that he can do certain things. No, player, it's not like that. The same rules that apply there apply here. You clean up behind yourself when you there, you're going to do the same thing here. You're not just going to sit around the lake. Because see, he think now that he lives with his dad when he comes here. Because he
vacation.
Yeah. No, dishes still got to get washed. Room still got to be clean. House still got to get cleaned up. You not visiting.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are the rules the same and are they enforced the same?
No.
No.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know about your house.
No, I mean, yeah, they are. I mean, I guess because with his dad, by his dad being more stern and stuff, I enforce him here because it's like, oh, you gonna do it. Don't get it twisted. Just because you here, you think you're not gonna do it. You gonna do it. And see, the thing about it is, he thinks that his dad and I don't talk. See, that's what he thinks. His dad and I talk all the time. So when he telling me one thing and thinking he gonna get away with it, and it's like, your son just tried it, and he like, what did he do? And I tell him, he like, oh no, oh, did he now? I said, oh, did you know your son tried this? And oh, did he now?
And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have that relationship. And if my son was with me for the summer, I would communicate with his mom about everything. Like, hey, this what's going on, whoop-de-whoop. And even if he's with me, I'm waking up saying, hey, did you talk to your mom today? Or if it's later on in the evening around dinner, hey, did you talk to your mom today? No, I ain't talked to her. Here go the phone. Go ahead and call her. You see what I'm saying? If she want to see him during the summer, now you know this is my time. Why you bothering me talking about summer waves or something like that? You're going to tell him something fun so he can want to go. So, of course, yeah, so you can ride, I don't care. Just bring him back to the house. I ain't meeting you nowhere halfway. You got to bring him right back. So, I think that communication is great when it works.
Yeah.
But it works for the ladies when the child is not with you. You can communicate very well when the child ain't with you because the shoe is on the other foot. But if you got that child, you know you got a sense of control. You know what I'm saying? You got the dominant hand. And I just want to make sure our people understand we don't have to treat each other like that. It's not that serious.
I will be honest to say it wasn't like that all the time at first. We had to build up to that. Gotta build. Because in the beginning you have a certain amount of animosity going on between. But once we got over that animosity and had a talk and realized, look, we got this child to raise, and we got to make sure he is good. So when he gets out there and when it's time for him to face the world, he's got all the tools that he needs to be a productive citizen in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to, swallow pride and look, we got to put this to the side, look, I don't like your ass sometimes, I can't stand you, you probably can't stand me, but we got a job to do. And that job is our child is standing right there, and he needs to see us co-parenting him together and to see that we are in agreement as to how things with him are going to be done and how he's going to be raised.
So what's your message to the sisters as it pertains to creating a healthy co-parenting environment?
My thing is, as far as women co-parenting your kids with their fathers, get past your feelings, because it ain't about you. It's about the child that you gotta raise. Take your feelings, put your feelings aside. If you gotta go scream in a pillow, do whatever it is you gotta do, go smoke a blunt before you talk to them or whatever it is you gotta do it. But you need to put those children first. They did not ask to be here. So you need to do what you need to do to make sure that they have a good, positive upbringing in this life. That's just all it is to it. It's point blank, period. Raise your kids.
Sandy. D?
Okay, as for me, co-parent would have been beautiful for me. Unfortunately, it was, everything lies on the other parties, choice. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get that co-parent from that person. I got it from someone else. Mm-hmm. And so I see the weight that it has on the child, outcome that it affect, it has on the child. So I never used my daughter as a pawn. Mm-hmm. So the reasons of not being there is none. It was nothing but a choice. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's why I be so listen, because you don't know what's going to happen in life. And if you hold that child hostage and something happens to you, the next person in line is that other biological parent. So why would you send a child and not have a relationship or foundation built so that you all can work together and raise this child? In the event something happens to either one of you, I wouldn't want that child to be sent somewhere that they knew nothing about, snatched away from their loved ones, simply because now the mother or father say, well, that's my child, I've been paying child support, I'm coming to get him. And I know that situation has happened. And now the child is in a place that they didn't know nothing about. That's one. The second one is you're not hurting the person. We always, as adults, we think we're getting at the other person. You're hurting the person, but ultimately you're hurting the child. Because the child is going to grow up and ask, where's my father? What happened to my father? What happens if they really build that relationship with that other parent and find out the things that has been taking place? That child can grow up to resent you. That child relationships are going to be messed up. So when you think about co-parenting, you have to think about the true effects of what you're doing to the child.
Well, with that being said,
that co-parenting.
Trey, you got some final words you want to say? Towards co-parenting.
Well, I would like to say to my brothers, fellas, there's way too many of us in the courthouse on child support day. There's way too many of us who have kids in mentor programs who don't have our dads. There's way too many of us being raked over the coals by the state. It's happening way too much, fellas. We need to find a way to work with our sisters, work with the mothers of our children, and we need to create a better society. But I know that's not going to really change. But for those who control the majority of the time with that child, I need you to also find a way to create a bond with that co-parent. Go to dinner at least once a quarter. You and those kids and the original father. If y'all could go to dinner together, go to dinner and just talk. You can't fuss in a restaurant because you're going to get kicked out.
And fussing in front of the child can also get them people in your business.
The people going to be in your business if you fussing in front of them children. So, fellas, I ask us to stand up a little bit better, a little more. We got to be fathers. Fathers first, cuz. Tighten up. Mamas, let us in the door.
Alright. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open.
No,
Never mind.
What's your final?
Well, I already said my piece.
She did.
So,
Okay.
so
Ladies,
well,
stop holding these kids hostages. Men, stop holding the kids hostages. Co-parent, work it out. You grown. Make it happen.
yeah. Act like grown. You was acting grown when you made them, so act grown when you're trying to raise them. That's all we got for today. Want to thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to click, like, share, and subscribe. And also, please leave your comments below, and we'll look forward to reading them because I'm sure we're gonna get some good comments off of this one because everybody got some churn.
Somebody gonna be on that. This is my baby mama. This is really good. Somebody gonna be real bad.
Don't forget, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Never be afraid to express yours. I'm your girl, Lynn Roberts.
I'm that girl, DC.
And I'm that guy, Trey.
We'll see you next time. Smooches.